Okay, so today I want to go over how to not be an asshole in the gym, also known as gym etiquette. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first I have them set up as like 4 separate things, but they're basically 4 things that go together / are like follow-ups to each other. So the first one is, let's say you see someone using a lat pull down or something, or actually that's not that good of an example. Let's say you see someone using like the preacher curl machine and you want to use that. If you don't know, a preacher curl is just like a bicep curl, but honestly that doesn't really matter for what I'm about to go into. So someone's using it, but you want to use it. Now, if you are new to the gym, you don't know that this is like a common thing that people do, but some people would have the confidence to do it, not everyone would. It is perfectly normal to walk up to the person on the machine and say, "Excuse me, how many sets do you have left?" And then obviously you're going to get an answer. Now, there is one unspoken rule in the gym, like you just should not break this rule. It is perfectly okay to ask someone, as I said, that question, or anything in the gym. It's okay to ask people questions, but do not do it in the middle of a set. That is so rude. Like, just think about it. Someone's in the middle of working extremely hard, trying to focus on their form, and maybe even trying to like push themselves through those last couple of reps or whatever it is. And you're just going to interrupt them to ask a question that you could wait 10 to 15 seconds to ask. So, as I said, it's perfectly okay to ask the questions, and that applies to any of the things I'm about to go over, but do not do it while someone's in the middle of a set. And also, don't like awkwardly stand. Like if someone's doing, let's say, a preacher curl, don't like stand in front of them and just start staring at them and like waiting. Like the way I try to do is I kind of try and stand like off to the side or like behind them, or just like a couple feet away, and like try and not be a thought for them. I don't want them to be like in the middle of the set and be like, "Oh, this guy's about to ask me a question." Like, I don't want that to be on their mind. So I try and stand in an area where they're not going to notice me. Or if I see they're still in the middle of a set, I might start walking a little slower, take a longer way to get there, because I don't want them to have to start thinking about me in the middle of their set. I want them to focus on their set, and then once they're done, I'm going to give them a second and then be like, "Excuse me, how many sets do you have left?" Now, let's say they have 3 sets left, and maybe you're in a rush that day or whatever it is, right? If they say they have 3 sets left, you can ask them, "Hey, do you mind if I work in?" Now, for those of you that don't know what that means, working in is basically just going to be while they're resting in between their sets, you're going to do your set. Then while you're resting, they're going to do their sets, and you guys are just going to alternate. Now, working in is fine on most exercises, especially on things that are like cables. So you're just like putting a pin in the weight, or you're sliding one of the things across, because some gyms have that. So you're just changing the weight quick and easy. But I will say, or even on like a plate loaded exercise where people are doing typically less than 2 plates, where there's only 2 plates on it, so you're taking 1 off or whatever, that's not a big deal. But like if someone's doing like a leg press, and like let's say you only do like 3 or 4 plates and they're doing like 7, probably not the best idea to ask to work in, because you're going to be changing 3 plates on each side every time. Like that's not like a little amount of work. So people are going to be a lot less willing to let you work in, and be a little annoyed if you ask to work in when you're doing certain exercises. Just for reference points, typically those are going to be things like your squat, your bench, your deadlift, your leg press. There's just certain exercises that you don't typically work in, but like most machines, that's typically where you're going to be a lot more willing to have people work in. Okay, now on the flip side, if someone asks you how many sets you have left and you have anything more than 1, it is typically nice of you to offer to let people work in. Now, if you're in a rush that day or whatever the circumstances are, it's not like a must. You don't have to offer to let others work in, but it is a nice gesture to do. And I always try and do it, especially if you're someone who takes longer rest periods. Like I typically take somewhere between like 2 to 3 minutes, and like if not even longer. So like you can easily change the weight and hit your set, come back, and I still might want a little more rest. So especially if you take that longer rest period, you probably should be offering people to work in. Now, one other thing. So let's say someone asks you if they can, or how many sets you have left, and then if they can work in. As I said, I take long rest. And if I see someone take short rest, or honestly, even if I remember, I try and tell every person that's working with me just so that they know. I let them know that I'm going to take a long rest, and I'm not pushing them to hit a second set in between, but I let them know, like, hey, I'm about to take 3 minutes off. If you want to hit a set, take a minute break, and then hit another set, that's perfectly okay. Because a lot of times when you're working, you're alternating back and forth always. But if I take long rests and they're not someone who takes long rests, I don't want to make them have to take this, like, for them, abnormally long rest. Like, they don't have to do that. So sometimes I'll offer to let people work because I don't mind waiting an extra 30 seconds if it allows a person to get 2 of their sets done. So that's like the first 4 things. And honestly, those are like the most common and frequent things that are going to happen in the gym etiquette wise. Like, it's very frequent. I'd say almost every time I lift, I'm probably asking someone, hey, how many sets you have left? And then a good amount of the time I'm asking people, hey, can I work in? Or I'm offering to other people if they want to work in. Okay, so those first 2 to 4, I don't really know how many tips you want to call that, but those first couple were just like really common things that happen in the gym that, like, honestly could happen to you like day one you show up to a gym. The next thing I want to go over is gym cleanliness. So this is gonna go over 3 like bullet points that I have. So the first one is, and this is honestly one of my biggest pet peeves in the gym. If you use something and you take it away from where it's being used, that is perfectly okay. I have no issues with that. But put it back. Like, oh my God, put things back where you got them from. It is such a simple concept. Like, you're already in a gym working out. Stop being lazy and go put it back where you got it from. Especially because when people start just leaving stuff all over the gym, now that's something that maybe you use every workout or every third workout or whatever it is. Now you can't find it and you can't use it. Like, if everyone just puts it back where it came from, it's a very simple concept. Everyone will know where it is. And it makes it so much simpler for everyone. So please, for the love of God, whatever you use in the gym, I don't care where you bring it, please bring it back. Like, just put it back where you got it from. It's so simple. Okay, sorry about the rant. So the next thing is re-rack your weights. So for those of you that don't know what that means, let's say you're working out with a flat bench on a barbell, right? You put, let's say I'll go with like my typical workout weight. I have 185 on the bar. So that's a 45 and a 25 on each side. I hit my last set. Now I'm not just leaving the bar with the weights on it. You're going to take the 25s off, put them on the side. You're going to take the 45s off and put it on the side. Whatever weight you put onto a bar, you're going to take off a bar. Now, I will say there's like 1 or 2 exceptions that I personally go with. Now, I will say re-racking can be controversial in some sense, where some people think no matter what you're doing, you should just re-rack everything, which honestly is a really fair way to go about it. And realistically is probably the best way. But on exercises like a leg press, where most people are typically doing at least 1 plate, and most of the time at least even 2 plates on each side for a leg press. So a lot of people will do what's called leaving a courtesy plate or courtesy 2 plates, where they'll, let's say you were working out with 5 plates on each side on the leg press. They'll take 3 plates off on each side. That'll leave them with 2 plates on each side. And they're just going to leave those 2 plates as what are called courtesy plates, because they're going under the assumption that the next person is probably going to be using those courtesy plates. Like, they're going to want at least 2 plates on each side. So I will say that is somewhat gym dependent. Like, when I'm at school, at a college gym, I know everyone can do 2 plates on each side pretty much. And everyone's going to want 2 plates on each side. So I leave a courtesy plate. When I'm at my home gym, I'll typically go 1 or 2 plates. Now, I understand, like, it would not surprise me if I got some hate for that with the courtesy plate thing. Not everyone agrees with that, but to each their own in a sense. But if you want to be cautious, just re-rack everything. Take everything off. So, and the last thing is, especially, the only gym that this is kind of weird at is actually the gym I go to, Crunch. But most gyms have wipes nearby. Please just take a quick second, grab a wipe down your thing, especially if you're really sweaty. Like, let's try and stay safe and not spread germs and everything. Like, just take the couple seconds to wipe it down. It's not a big deal. Crunch is a little weird where, like, they have spray bottles and paper towels. Sometimes the paper towels run out. Sometimes the spray bottles are empty. So, like, I've noticed Crunch is the only gym I've been to where, like, a lot of the equipment I've noticed doesn't get cleaned by, like, the gym goers themselves. Like, I know the staff clean, but Crunch is the one, like, exception in a sense where it's just a little weird. But, like, most gyms you go to have, like, the little wipes. You just grab one, wipe it down. If you want, I see some people bring a wipe with them. or you can just go grab a new wipe every time, whatever. Like, just clean your stuff, especially if you're someone who sweats a lot. If you're not someone who sweats a lot, you still probably should clean your stuff, but it's a little more, I get it. But if you're someone who sweats a lot, please just wipe it down. Like, no one wants to like walk up to a bench that they think is fine and then see that there's just sweat all over it. Like, I don't really want to lay in your sweat while I'm benching. Just clean it off. It's simple. Okay, and the next thing I want to go over is just like a quick one thing that it's fine to grunt in the gym. I know some people are like pro grunting, against grunting, whatever. If your body is grunting because of how hard you're pushing yourself and it's just like a reaction, you're not like choosing to do it, that's fine. But I will say, if you're one of those people that just decides to grunt for every rep just because you think it's like cool or whatever, that's just annoying. There's no need for you to be making all that extra noise in the gym. Like, you're not getting anything out of it. You're probably just getting people looking at you, which I don't know. Personally, when I'm lifting, I don't really want that. But like, if you're grunting because you like have to, you're not trying to grunt, it just happens, that's fine. So grunting, if it has to happen, is fine, but don't be over the top of it. Don't be extra. Don't be like screaming at the top of your lungs. Just have it be natural. Okay, and the next one I want to get into is, and this is very specific for people filming in the gym, but if you're someone who's filming in the gym, I film in the gym, that's fine. But unless it's a gym that says no filming, then yeah, figure it out. But if you're someone who films in the gym, please try and film in a way that you're not taking up space that other people need to be using. Like, if you're filming on one bench, don't put your camera or your phone or however you're recording on the bench next to you. Like, don't take up an extra bench just because you want to record in the gym. That's not okay. You get just as much space as everyone else. Everyone has the same right to all the equipment as you do. So try and put your camera, your tripod, your phone, whatever it is, in a place where it's not going to be bothering anyone else. This is something personally I do. Every time I'm done using my tripod to record a set, I immediately put it back in my bag so it's not in anyone's way. Also know that if someone asks you to delete a video because you got them in the background, like, you should be willing to do that. Like, you're not allowed to just start recording people, really, especially in like a gym like that. Like, you're not really supposed to. So if someone asks you to delete it, just delete it. It's easier. It's not that crazy. Like, it's not that big of an ask. And the last thing is, if someone walks in front of your video, that is fine. Like, you have no right to be mad at them. They have access to every square inch of the gym, just like you do. So if they happen to walk through your video because they don't realize you're recording, that's fine. Don't be mad at them. Just cut out that part of the video, or honestly, half the time, people aren't even gonna realize when they're watching your video back. Like, it's fine. It's not a big deal. So just know, like, if you're recording, please try and record in like a respectful fashion. Don't put your stuff in people's way, and if someone walks in your video, it is what it is, and just deal with it. Okay, and the last thing is, let's say you look at a machine and you don't see someone next to it. You see like a water bottle or a bag. Common sense is there's probably someone using it. Now, if you're not sure, go up to a nearby machine that has someone on it and be like, hey, by chance you know if anyone's using that? Or you can just stand by it for a second and see if someone's using it. But typically, a bag or a water bottle mean that someone's using it. And as I said, you can always ask someone around and they might be able to give you an answer. Worst case, you start using it, someone comes back, you're like, oh, my bad, do you mind if I work in? And worst case, they say no, and you have to wait a little bit. But worst case is they come back and they were on it first, so you let them take it. Like, don't put up a fight. They had it first, so they have the right of way to like use it again. I'm trying to post this so I can, hopefully more people will have proper gym etiquette and just be more respectful in the gym, because it's all about respect. Just be respectful to other people and you're going to be fine. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned a little bit about gym etiquette there, and please share this to anyone who's like new to the gym, or even in their first couple of years, or honestly just anyone who lifts. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next Sunday at 5 p.m. Catch you there.